It's accepting someone before they walk through the door.
No matter what their background, their religion, their lifestyle.
It's about accepting people for who they are as individuals.
Their culture, their family, their traditions.
Tolerance is celebrating the diversity that makes us great.
Tolerance. Honor the differences.
Picture a world of respect. Visit tolerance.org to learn more.
I'm Ebong.
I'm Marlene.
And I'm Kate.
Today we're dishing with you from Hook, located at 3241 M Street Northwest.
And our guest today, who I'm proud to introduce, is Andre Wells, who is the founder CEO of Events by Andre Wells, and obviously phenomenally dressed. This is just a microcosm of how you are in general. And so
do you always wear the bow tie? Sorry.
Sometimes.
Sometimes we do, but I mean,
yeah.
and he was
80%.
And he was. We were both Washingtonians Best Dressed 2007.
Oh, way to throw yourself in there with that.
I was gonna say, I bowed down to this guy.
I'm
still waiting on my
But I know. But the point is the fact that I was in the same magazine with this guy is actually what I thought was, for me, relatively. It told me I was doing the right thing. But how long have you been a celebrity event planner to the stars?
Well, I've been in the business for about 13 years now, and I've had my own company for 6. So I've been doing it for a while.
Okay.
Do you have a degree in it? Or?
I don't. I started off as a buyer. I bought women's sportswear for the May company. I had about 45 stores, but I always knew I wanted to be a special events planner. But we were in a recession then when I graduated from college, so.
Well, we're in a recession now.
But I got in. I got in.
No, what I want to know is, so you say that you were in a recession whenever you wanted to get started with it, but now we're seeing that all over again. How does it change what you're doing with the events? I mean, the events that I've been to have been just as, I won't say opulent, but just as luxurious, just as amazingly well planned. How does that change your job?
Well, I think you have to be very reactionary. You have to be more creative with ways to make things look like wow, but they can't cost wow. And quite honestly, some people have a budget for entertaining, and that doesn't change. But then you have companies and individuals that don't, and that's when the reactionary part happens.
Okay.
So
do they come to you with a vision, or do they just say, Andre, it's up to you. You plan this event.
I love that.
So I guess that doesn't happen so often.
No, it depends. I think corporations and nonprofits and some political figures, they all have a goal and they have certain things that they want to do and specific goals that they try to reach. So it's very clear. And then other clients like socialites and entertainers and brides, they have a big picture, they have a vision, and it's my job to help make that vision come to life and help create and also to edit, And going back to your first question, in recessionary times, we do a lot of editing.
Sure.
Whereas we may have done big, beautiful, lavish arrangements on every single table. Maybe now we'll only do 4, and we'll do, candles, floating in glass vases of different heights.
Well, how do you maintain that creativity, though? I feel like, okay, I love the color red. Every event that I ever threw would just have a red theme. It would just be red, 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 red. But everything you do is so different, so interesting. How does the creativity continue to flow?
Because I'm inspired by the people, what they're into. I learn a lot. I travel a lot. I go to new places, from McDonald's to Paris. You can get inspired or you can listen to what people say. And, I think we do a good job listening.
What about McDonald's inspires you?
What about McDonald's inspires me? I think it's feel good, fun, easy food. And when people partied their, butts off, when they go out the ballroom and they see this stand with McDonald's burgers, and milkshakes, that's fun. And then it becomes like, oh my gosh, you wouldn't even believe. When we left there, this is what happened. So I like doing stuff like that.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's the experience that you're providing people. It's the experience of when they come to Andre Wells. I feel like I swear it's not an infomercial. He's not paying me to say this, but I feel like when you go to Andre Wells for an event, I'm thinking about you in the third person, but if you go to Andre Wells for an event, you provide them with an experience that they're going to get. So like you said, even if it's something as simple as a McDonald's burger and some shakes, or some lavish tuna tartare, it doesn't matter because you're getting something. You know what you're getting with you, which is high quality and.
No, and I appreciate that. And I feel like, I'm a public servant, so I sell service and creativity, so I have to, keep that going. And what's the next step? Or haven't you done that before? Or shall we do it again?
Well, let's talk about trends for a second. How do you feel about electronic invitations?
I don't like electronic invitations. I don't.
That's a big surprise.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that is the first bang of the party. That invitation. When you see an invitation, you're like, I'm definitely going by that. Or you're like, not so.
Delete.
Yeah.
But I understand sometimes you have to do an electronic invitation just to reach the masses because of time constraints, budget. So I do understand it, but it's not my first choice.
And that's said from a person who has one of the best invitations I've ever seen in my life, in my last 7 to 10 years of actually being social. I would say your invitations are very dynamic and unique, and whether it's the size of it, not a standard envelope, or whether it's the texture or the material you use. And so, like you said, it says a lot about the event where you say, oh man, I got to go to this.
Yeah, no. I think it has to be dynamic, like I said, and textural. Even my cards. I have a black business card, and
It's
I did it
raised
on
in
purpose.
boss with the big A. I mean,
Yeah.
I memorized it just today.
Thank you.
Like 3 years ago.
Come on, Brady.
I think you have a protege.
Oh, it's amazing.
No. Go
How
ahead.
about event? We're going still on trends here. Event etiquette. Okay. Do you show up if you didn't RSVP?
No, you don't show up unless you've called the host. I mean, that is a big sore spot of ours.
Do you show up if you didn't get an invitation?
You don't.
This one is one we're talking about in DC a lot right now. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, you do not, and especially if you're going to the White House, if you were invited to the White House,
And you don't get invited via email either.
Absolutely not. You don't. But I feel like when people entertain, it's strategic, and sometimes they invite certain people for certain reasons. And just because you're my good friend, that doesn't mean you have to come to every single event. It just depends what the goal and what the.
So how do you determine your invitation list? Are you looking to introduce people? Are they mostly networking events? Or are you trying to find people that have like interests that you think would get along well together?
Well, it depends on the client. If it's a new store, if they're introducing, a new brand, or if it's a bunch of socialites just for a social occasion, or if it's a corporation who they already have a list, So we help them, again, edit the list and determine who should be invited, or sometimes we have nothing to do with the list because they already know who they want to invite. Our job is to keep people who are not on the list out.
And why DC? Why are you here in DC?
I love DC. It's a small, big city. I probably do the trend was about 60% of my business here, and the other 40% is destination all over the United States and abroad. But I like it because it's a great place to come home to, and it's fun. And now everybody wants to be a part of DC.
And now that you're in DC, what was your big? Do you remember the one client you had at one point that was your big break where you said to yourself, "I've made it. It's over."
Oh gosh, I'm still hoping to make it, but But I love Black Entertainment Television. They've been very good to me. They allow me to be creative, and they've been with me even when I worked for another company. So.
Well, do you have a dream client? Someone that you just, if you could do an event for them, it would just make your year.
Yeah, I love Oprah. Would love to steal Oprah away from Colin Cowley.
Well, when you do the party for Oprah, we're going to expect to be on that invite
you'll be on that list.
Andre,
It'll be a big invite at this table.
So much for being with us. We've learned a lot about events in the city and what to do and what not to do. We'll keep that in mind.
Thank you, Kate.
And as always, thank you for joining us here on this episode of The District Dish.